First of all, no, the changes will not apply retrospectively. If someone has an asylum claim already in the system, and they do not, okay, let me restart this, because the transitional measures are a little bit complicated. If this system is accepted by Parliament and put in place, we hope that it would be put in place sometime in mid-2011. From the date that it comes into effect, if you have not reached the Refugee Protection Division before that day, you will continue to be treated under the current rules. If you've started in the refugee protection from the onset of the new system, you'll be treated under the new rules, but not the new timelines, because what we have to do is prioritize all of the new claims to make sure that they meet the service standards, the 60 days for the RPD, the 4 months for the RAD, and the 1 year for removal. So in that sense, no, it's not retrospective. It's prospective. It's looking forward for claims that reach the new system after its implementation. In terms of confidence, is it a confidence matter? I believe that this will receive support in any event. Typically, the government designates only budget matters as confidence matters. And this has budgetary implications because it involves $540 million that will be presented to Parliament in the estimates. So the legislation itself would not typically be a confidence matter, but the $540 million to fund it will be. Will we flush out illegals? Anyone who's in Canada illegally or is living under a removal order or deportation order obviously has a legal obligation to leave, and the Canada Border Services Agency has a legal responsibility to ensure that that happens. But there's no additional resources in this plan, no new initiative to increase the number of removals in general for people who are generally illegally in Canada. We do have additional resources to speed up removal of failed refugee claimants, because without that, what's the point of having a system? There's just no point at all. And I would underscore that even refugee advocates, even Olivia Chow, my NDP critic, has said we need to increase resources to more quickly remove people. Now, one thing remove failed refugee claimants under the new system. One thing I want to emphasize for you is that we want to do that in an effective and compassionate way. I'd much rather use a carrot than a stick when it comes to removing failed claimants. That's why we've included in the package something called an assisted voluntary removal pilot project, which we are looking at copying from the Australians and the British. This would allow a CBSA officer to sit down collaboratively with a failed claimant after they've lost their appeal and to say, look, we'd like to give you some advice. Here are your options. Here's the legal system. Here's what's going to happen. Now, they'll say, if you decide that you're going to try to overstay and avoid removal, this could be very difficult for you. Ultimately, we will continue to pursue your removal. When you're removed, you probably won't be able to come back to Canada. On the other hand, if you cooperate with us and we expedite your removal, as per Canadian law, we will assist you. We will assist you with finding the cost of transportation to return to your home country. We will work through an organization like the International Organization for Migration to provide a modest support for your reintegration back in your country of origin. This is something that Britain and Australia have done, and people have responded very favorably. It's to present an incentive, and it's a positive incentive for people to cooperate. We think it will increase compliance. Finally, distrust by Canadians. I respectfully disagree. I think the Canadians are distrustful of government and politicians in general, and that's just the kind of garden variety cynicism, I would say. But I think Canadians are actually generally happy with the direction of the country, the strength of the economy, and I can tell you that on this particular issue, what Canadians distrust is the asylum system that's broken down, which is why 84% want it to be reformed. And I think we're responding to that popular demand.
under the new system, the number of asylum accepted persons would go up from 1,500 per annum to something like 15,000, according to the background here. Will this impact the rest of the immigration classes, such as Canada Experience class or skilled workers? I understand that Canada Experience hasn't been so successful as anticipated. Then, other question. Canada exchanges information currently about asylum seekers with the UK, Australia and New Zealand since last August or something. What about like Western Europe? Someone kicked out from Finland back to Hungary, could they simply buy a ticket to Pearson and start it all over again? Can you check the backgrounds? Then the third is a bit light question I have to ask is, can Canada decide where in this country these people await the decision? Can they choose between like Toronto and Churchill? Because there was a case in Finland that 100 Hungarians placed in the harsh climate of northern Finland simply decided they'd had enough and purchased tickets one morning and flew back to Budapest.
So use the weather as an incentive. Well, that's a very Canadian idea. You've done your homework. Thank you for the detailed questions. No, we don't expect any negative impact on the targets for the economic streams of immigration to Canada. You're quite right that we do expect the number of landings of protected persons, that is to say successful asylum claimants, will go up. Now, by the way, some people will say this is an anti-refugee bill. The opposite is the truth. Not only will we be accepting additional resettled refugees, but because we'll be processing more people and discouraging false claims, both the percentage and number of successful asylum claimants landed in Canada will go up. Will go up under this plan. But we don't intend to take that out of the economic categories, including the federal skilled worker or Canadian experience class. I agree that we are disappointed with the relatively low uptake on the Canadian experience class. It's a great new pathway to permanent residency for qualified foreign students and highly skilled temporary foreign workers that I really believe in, because they've already been pre-integrated into Canada where necessary. They've improved their language skills. They have a university degree. In the case of the students, that is going to be accepted by Canadian employers, and they're well integrated into the workforce in the case of federal skilled work, temporary foreign workers. So we're going to be promoting that, trying to get more uptake into the Canadian experience class. But no, it's not our intention to cut the targets in those areas, because we need to continue to put the emphasis on economic immigration. If we want to maintain public support for high levels of immigration to Canada, we need to show to all Canadians that it's working for the economy. And that's why the emphasis has to continue to be on economic categories. In terms of secondary claims, no, we don't, there's nothing we can do to prevent somebody from asylum shopping unless you create what's called a safe third country agreement. And the only place with which we have such an agreement is the United States. It was created by the previous Liberal government, I think signed in 2003, implemented in 2004.